Good afternoon, Matt. It's Andrew Vigar, Executive Chairman from Terra Uranium. We're an ASX listed company, but all our assets are in the Athabasca Basin in Canada. And we're looking for deep stuff undercover out there.
Actually, good to see you again. I think we saw you last April. Enjoyed the story then for sure. What have you been up to? Because it's been a heck of a year, 2023. I mean, it finished off very, very strong. Is that what kind of worked out for you? Are you seeing a lot more people kind of leaning into this story?
We've seen a lot more activity in the uranium price, obviously. I mean, around, it probably wasn't long after April, I gave my first presentation in Melbourne, and the guys were saying, you know, what can you guess for the uranium price at the end of the year? And I said, guys, it's going to be $100 by Christmas. And Matt, I missed it by 2 weeks, so I'm very disappointed. But hopefully this year will be a lot more accurate.
I hope so. You can still do my lottery ticket numbers. So right, yeah, okay. So high price environment for sure. Lots of people looking in, but there will be lots of people jumping on the bandwagon. And I think down at the exploration area where you are, there's going to be a lot of people saying the same things. So let's get into what you're after. You've got 3 projects that I'm aware of. How are you chasing that? How are you prioritizing that?
When we formed the company, we were very much focused on where are we going to find the biggest and highest grade deposits that are sitting out there, haven't been found yet. So we're a discovery company. We're an exploration company. We put together a world-class team. So myself, Darryl Clark, who was one of the founders now with ISO Energy. So he's head of VPX now for ISO. Doug Engdale, who's on our board, he's with ATHA as well. And then lately we've had Dr. Kylie Prendergast come in, really world-class explorationist. And then just as announced in our quarterly and joined us just before Christmas was Hayden Lynch, who's ex-RBC. He's an engineer originally, but with a corporate and banking background, because that's the next step for our company. We need to get more onto the corporate and developing things side. But our company's still focused on what we started on, which is looking for the next big discovery in the Athabasca. They're the biggest deposits, so we look for that parallel trend a little bit further west, which was the Cable Bay. We went in there and it was vacant, pretty much. There was nobody out there. Everybody knew about it from the 90s. There was uranium showings all over the place, but it was a little bit deeper. So people were saying, no, Andrew, you find something in 1,000 meters, how on earth are you going to mine that? And we were very fortunate that the guys at Denison had come along and done all that test work that they're doing on their projects there at Wheeler River, and actually proving that in situ recovery, which we've been using for a long time on shallow uranium deposits, it really does work on deep deposits. So that's been a huge game changer for us. So you put all those things together, and we went out to the Cable Bay and we pegged some excellent ground around Passfield Lake. And really got stuck into that. And we've been working hard on that for the last year. So they were grassroots old projects from the 80s and 90s. And, you know, we've done all the modern work to bring them up to speed.
Well, let's take a look at this, because I think it's really important that we distinguish between companies who can and companies who will, right? So you've done a lot of staking, you've got a bit of land, and, you know, you've got Hawk Rock and Passfield and Parker, which we talked about last time out. You've also talked about deep deposits, right? Whether it's ISR or not, which is obviously going to be cheaper solution for extracting the uranium at some point. Right now, at the front end of this, it's going to be expensive. The drilling is going to be deeper and therefore more expensive. Yeah. How does a company of your size deal with that?
That's a real problem, because when you've got a market cap around the $10 million mark, you know, how do you fund a $10 or $15 million program? I mean, that's expensive, but the targets are very, very large. So when we find something, it's going to be in the billions of dollars of value. So the way we've gone about that is saying, okay, we've got excellent technical people. We've got Mike McClelland and his team, Canadians based in Canada, huge experience in the uranium business and in exploration. Let's go out and find some partners. So that's what we've been doing for the last few months. We've been quietly working away in the background, approaching people who really want to help us pin down the very next major deposit, because everybody knows there's shortages coming up and little deposits are not going to do it. We need a big one. We need a Cigar or MacArthur. And we believe we've got one on our ground, and we're looking for partners to help fund it.
Right. Okay. So you're looking for partners, so strategic partners coming in at presumably asset rather than corporate.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
At the asset level. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And obviously, we spoke to lots of people over the past, week or so as part of this uranium uncovered, and it's clear that lots of generalist investors are trying to work out what's going on. Lots of brokers are trying to work out what's going on with strategics. Again, they're either going to have to know a lot about Athabasca or a lot about uranium, presumably, or just be generally interested in uranium, because in terms of the balance sheet, what you're asking for is not a lot. So can you give us a sense of like what type of companies and what they're interested in sense of getting involved with you?
I guess we're really, and it's a good point, Matt. For the sorts of people we're targeting and the ones we're talking to now, it's a lot of money for us, but not for them. So it's a strategic position right in the middle of the Athabasca, and they don't necessarily have the expertise. So they're saying uranium's a great thing. I want to be in it. Let's partner with a company that's got the team, both at board and operations level. We know the business. We've been in it for a very long time, and we can take it right through to a discovery and make something out of it. So that's the way. I think they appreciate that. I mean, it's very. Anybody can go and find a project, but you go and try and finding the people, or the drill rigs, or the geophysics guys, or how it all works together, and how you combine 5 or 6 different elements into targeting a drill hole into a deposit which is maybe a couple of 100 meters across at 1,000 meters depth. That's a pretty small target, and there's a lot of science, a lot of skill goes into that, and that's what we can provide for people.
Right, but because the other thing we're sort of seeing is a lot of kind of roll-ups, consolidations, acquisitions in the Athabasca. I mean, Athabasca is obviously well known, well regarded for high-grade discoveries. Some very valuable companies being created in the Athabasca Basin, but it also, and that sounds fantastic, but it's also very overcrowded. And I come back to that kind of that kind of white noise. How do you stand out? What is it about you guys versus all of those other stories which differentiates you, which would potentially attract this money?
Yeah, I think it's very much that where we've positioned ourselves in a slightly deeper part of the basin, we've managed to pick up what we think is a prime location there to find. Yeah, it's a little bit deeper, but it's we're going to find that next big one. And so what differentiates us? We're not interested in 10 or 20 or 30 million pounds. We're interested in hundreds of millions of pounds. And it's really, as I said, the work the Denison guys to show that you can produce from that sort of depth at prices that are well under $20 a pound. And we've got mills in the district that would take those concentrates and produce yellow cake out of them. But we feel that because we were first in the area, Matt, we could pick up the best ground, what was the most prospective. And other people have come behind us, but we've looked at what they've got. It's not as prospective as where we are. We managed to pick the eyes out of it at the time because we were first movers. We were the first ones in there.
But I guess it's kind of incumbent on you to kind of move through the phase of the growth phases. So $10 million, if you get the money in from a strategic, that's great. You hopefully will be able to drill, and the drill bit talks, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Wouldn't it be better for you guys to actually sort of team up with one of the bigger kind of roll-up stories in the Athabasca Basin and do a JV? I'm just trying to think of all the options available to you, and I'm sure you've considered them all. So
most of those guys have got the opposite problem to the first of all, they know the basin pretty well, which is great. They've got teams of their own. Plus, they've got acres of ground. I mean, some of those roll-ups, I don't know how they can hang on to it, to be honest. I mean, their cost per hectare, which is a legislated thing. You can't get away from it. You've got to spend the money. You either give it to the government or you put it in the ground. They've got huge expenditures. So taking on another project, they're just saying that, you guys are doing great, but, we'll keep an eye on you. And when you've made something, we'll talk to you then.
Okay.
So they've got more than enough on their hands. And our neighbours are guys like Ather and ISO, who are also in the Cable Bay. They've got huge ground holdings of their own. So
okay.
they're pretty happy with what they've got.
Okay, so if I look ahead, because I'm buying into the team and I'm buying into the land that you're holding. Money, you're telling me conversations are happening. If you get that money, what do you do with it? What's going to make a difference? What's going to move the share price from where it is today, and and drive that market valuation, the valuation the market is giving you at the moment? What's going to be the most important thing that you could do with money?
Well, basically drilling. So we're mostly. So our Passfield project is ready to go. We introduced the ANT technology from Australia, which is the passive seismic, which is now being picked up by other players in the basin. It's able to see through the sandstone and map the unconformity. So we introduced that. We've got a good project on Passfield, which we would like to drill. Again, expensive work. But out of that analysis work that we've been doing recently, we picked up the Rapid River, a new area, which is our fourth project, which is right next to Passfield Lake on the western side. We'd like to do some work on that. So we'll do some generative work on that one, airborne geophysics, spread our ANT out, do that sort of work. But really it's focused on drilling Passfield. And it's not good drilling just one or two holes. We tried that at Parker. It's not efficient and it's way too expensive. You need to get in there with a program. We'd very much like to mobilise some equipment in the winter. But we're fortunate where we are at Passfield is that it's not covered by lakes. It's actually there's a slight rise in the basement there, and it's all dry, so we can drill there right through the summer without any problems. So we'd like to put a major summer program in there, make a discovery. We're off to the races.
Right, and do you think it's a little bit of all boats will float in high tide sort of thing, which is something I accept to a point, but it's also at that point, the company needs to be in control of the things that it does, which actually drive the valuation of the company. So drilling more than 3 holes. So how much money are we talking about? Are you literally talking about $10 to $15 million?
Yeah, that's right. We're in that sort of range.
Right.
And we're talking.
And would you keep that on one asset?
That's over a number of years. So
right.
At the moment, we're talking one asset, which is Passfield. That's the one where we've done the ANT already. We'd like to deploy the ANT on the other projects and bring them up to speed. Major summer drill program.
Okay, so just explain to me, because I want to make sure we're not kind of giving away all of the upside here. It's like you say with Passfield, you say, right, okay, we'll raise money at asset level into Passfield. We will continue to show that our technology and all the V10, Z10, etc. that you're using and all this stuff works, and use that almost as a case study, a working case study for you. If the drill bit returns high grade, deep high grade numbers, then potentially, obviously, the value of the company changes, and potentially then you can sort of, with the other projects, monetize that. But is it a case of you kind of got to give away a little something to kind of keep the ball moving with Passfield, do you think?
Yeah, we do, and that's understandable. We're an exploration company. People are taking a risk, so we're happy to share the upside. We're a bit choosy about who we talk to, so we'd like a partner who, is capable to follow through a discovery. But then the value of the company is it's like next gen. I mean, Lee Curry and the boys started out with an idea, and then they went to a discovery, and now they're a multi-billion-dollar company. It's very easy when you're at those levels. We're at the very early stage, but as you know, Matt, the value creation stage happens when a company goes from a concept that's well thought out and well done through to actually making that discovery. And we've done it before. So the guys in the team, we've been around, we've done that many, many times. The last company I was involved in was a gold company, but that was K92, which is a multi-billion-dollar company now in Canada. And it was a very similar story. We had an idea, we shopped it around, it was hard work, but then eventually we got the people to back it and put the drill holes in, and the discovery was made, and straight away you're off and it's easy done. But opening up a new province, and it's a very interesting sort of little aside, because I've been in this industry a long time, and I know that no matter what commodity you're in, there are very small windows where you can do what we're doing now, which is opening up new provinces. It's a hard thing to do, it's high risk, and the investor appetite is only there for a short period of time to actually make those those really major discoveries. And if you look at all the commodities at the moment around the world, we're really, really lacking good exploration work. I mean, nobody's made any major discoveries in copper or gold or uranium or anything for a very long time. And now's the opportunity. Yeah.
See, but with uranium, it just on the macro, I mean, it seems to me that I think everyone expects us to be not a kind of spike and temporary thing in terms of price. Well, we do it maybe like, some nice, some steady growth, maybe because I think the kind of extreme spikes that tends to put some of the market off. But do you feel that uranium's got a kind of long runway ahead of it, and that's beneficial to some of the exploration companies like yourself, in terms of new people looking in at this tiny little market, uranium market?
You have many guys on talking to you who are a lot more qualified than me, Matt, but the world is shifting, and shifting very, very fast. And people are underestimating what's happening in China and Russia and their ability to build reactors. And it was really interesting. I was giving a talk yesterday to somebody who was looking at the sort of cycle of the construction of power stations. And, the US went through it in the 60s and 70s, massive construction phase and nothing much. And then the French went through it, and the Chinese are doing it right now, which is a smart move. But each one of those phases was associated with a sustained high uranium price for quite a long period of time, many, many years. And I think that's what we're heading into again now. And it's off the back of, major construction coming out of China in particular. But, Japan are restarting, the French want to rebuild, even in England, you're talking about building more reactors. And no one's talking about small modulars and demand to feed those for fuel. And we need major discoveries to fuel that. And the world is sort of becoming, a bit more fragmented than it was. And we need supply out of, especially North America, which is why we're based in Canada.
Well, look, Angie, appreciate you coming on. One, to sort of let us know you're still here, you're getting on with things, you're raising capital in the right part of the world with the right team, and hopefully the assets give you what you want. Stay in touch to let us know how you get on, certainly with the fundraising component, and obviously any drill plans that you've got coming up. I think it'll be very interesting year for uranium participants, for sure.
It will be, and it's a not unique, but it's a special time in the market. So appreciate you getting us on today, Matt. Thank you very much.